this is certain. I feel this is a privilege for me to be able to present today. Thank you for this opportunity. And I have been contemplating like a lot what I want to talk about, and my mind was like spinning because I have so many ideas. But I have to say that the last meeting, I don't know, oh, Poppy is here, yes, when she presented about the purpose of life, it left a big impression on me, and I kind of felt tempted to continue what she has so beautifully started. And that's why I came up with this topic for today's presentation, vision board that works and creating success in our life with intention, but not just in life. Specifically, I would like to focus on spiritual life, because in my realization is that we are very intentional often when it comes to, we can say like material portion of our lives. Like we plan our education and where we're gonna live and what we're gonna do for work. But when it comes to our spiritual journey, it's often by default. It's like, let it unfold organically. And I've been thinking why we cannot also plan our spiritual journey, our spiritual progress, how we can, because that's the most important thing in our life. Everything else we're gonna leave, education, houses, the goods, and everything else, but our spiritual bank account, that's something we're gonna take with us. So I decided to try to go that route. So I hope that is okay with all of you for today. Okay, thank you. So before I begin, I would like to just offer the prayers to seek the blessings of our cyclic succession. So Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutala Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatarine Panchakalpadrubhyascha Kripasinubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Gyanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So with your kind blessings and permission, I would like to share my screen. So let's see if I have permission to do this. I am not able to share the screen. So whoever is the host of the meeting, if you can, okay.
I meant to ask when we started, so sorry. I think you have host powers now.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me see which one I would be able to do. Let's try I created in Canva, so hopefully I will be able to play it from here. Okay, is that works good for everyone? Like, can you see this? Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you. One disclaimer, we didn't have internet for 4 days. I had all this plan how I'm gonna prepare for today's presentation, and only yesterday evening they came and fixed our internet. So I have been like desperately putting this together this morning. So if it's ugly, if it's boring, if you see some grammar mistakes, just please be forgiving for me today. So vision board that actually works, designing our success with attention. So I want to first start with why we even need to have a vision or a vision board. We are, as a Bhakti practitioner, we are in line of an extraordinary visionary. And there's nobody else but His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, the founder and acharya of this beautiful International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He has an amazing vision. It took him years of preparation, obstacles, rejection, failures are put in parentheses, and hardships. But he maintained, Srila Prabhupada, a crystal clear vision, resilience, and unwavering determination to succeed regardless. We know Srila Prabhupada's journey. It took years of preparation when he was in India, preparing to sail or to travel from India to United States on a board of a cargo ship. And it wasn't easy. He received this instruction from his spiritual master to bring the teachings of Krishna consciousness to the West. And first, he had no idea how he would ever be able to do it. But he was determined to seek the means and ways to fulfill that instruction. And it took years of preparation. When he was finally ready, he was begging, literally, at the manager office of the owners of this commercial company to give him a space on a cargo ship to travel. And he was rejected, not just once, but many times, because he was in his 70s. He was really, in very advanced age. And the what was her name? Sumati Morarji, right? Yes. She was treating Srila Prabhupada as her father. So she was a Swamiji, you cannot go. This is, first of all, the trip itself. The sea can be rough and you will not make it. Even if you make it there, you're gonna die there. So she was very concerned. So she would reject Srila Prabhupada plea many times, but he was so determined that he sat on the steps and reject to move. He wanted to get the seat on a ship so he could travel. And then finally, when he received that, he had 2 heart attacks on a ship. And I didn't have, to be honest with you, you read sometimes about things, right? We read about things, and then yeah, that was intense, that was heavy. But until we experience at least a minute, similar situation, then we don't have a deeper understanding. And recently I went for a cruise. That was our doTERRA business incentive for / business trip. And we were in this metal box in the middle of ocean, like for 48 hours. And when the sea was nice and smooth, it was beautiful, calming, relaxing, healing. But Krishna, as an ocean, he was so merciful that he decided also to show us the other side of his majesty. And as we were traveling, the sea was rough. The waves were high. They were like 6, 7, 8 meters high. The ship was rocking from side to side. And I was just in so much anxiety. And that was only for 48 hours. And now when I think about Srila Prabhupada being there for weeks, for months, I really had much deeper appreciation what he has done to bring those teachings to us. So that was just a little bit I wanted to share about Srila Prabhupada, and that he was a visionary. So we can take an example of such a great devotee of the Lord and follow in his footsteps. So I want to go a little bit what is the vision and why we would like to create a vision board. So the dictionary definition of vision is that this is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. And we can have different types of vision. It could be for our external lives, a relationship, time, different things, our internal life, feelings, thoughts, health. We can have a vision for the business, for work. But how about creating a vision for our spiritual life? So before I move forward, I would like to ask you a question, like, do you have a vision for your spiritual life? Have you ever created a vision board for your spiritual journey? Please feel free to share, unmute, post in the chat. Yeah, Lauren. Yeah, please go.
No, I've never created a vision board for my spiritual life. I never thought to do that, honestly. So I'm just really excited to explore that because I'm on like Pinterest right now. So I like always do it for like, I don't know, like in a material sense, like what clothes am I gonna wear, like what career I'm gonna do. So I'm just excited. Thank you.
I'm glad it's helpful for you so far. Yeah. I don't know if I should be the one who like manages
No, I
I
think
have
I
a,
don't
I
know.
have a, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. I was gonna say I've actually done that in the very beginning of my Krishna consciousness journey, and I was very disappointed when things didn't go the way I had initially planned, because it just seemed that everyone had a very linear path until I met this one devotee from Cape Town. Her name was Karuna, and she was just telling me about like all the ups and downs and the curveballs and the forks in the road that she had on her path. And that just like made me just, take a step back and stop being so hard on myself, because I really had a plan. Oh my God, I'm gonna get initiated by this time, I'm gonna get a second initiation by this time, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna go to India, and all of these things that I had already planned just based off of what I was seeing from other devotees. And they were beautiful plans, but I just didn't have in mind like how Krishna also has his plan for me. So I wish I still had that plan, because I think one of the things is that once I threw the plan out and like, okay, I'll just do whatever happens, I also just stopped being as motivated as I was in the beginning. But I'm really excited. Like as I'm watching this presentation and hearing you talk, it's just triggering so many beautiful memories that I had once upon a time, and so many warm feelings of myself that, wow, you really had something and such a pure intention, and you just threw it away based off of like the curveballs of life that will come. So yeah, I'm feeling warm and fuzzy inside because of that, because it's just like triggering so many memories for me. Yeah, thank you. I see Intariami's hand is up.
No, Namsa, go ahead and finish. Are you finished?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay, because you said something that reminded me, Krishna having a plan for us, because I started out doing service before I actually became interested in becoming a devotee, and that just continued. And I've been so busy doing service that I see that Krishna, in his own way, has already created some type of plan for me. I mean, each time I receive some service, it's like something I never anticipated, but it keeps getting greater and greater. So I just look at it as Krishna taking control and helping me make decisions. So Krishna has helped me plan my life, and the take back, or the take that I get from it, is that whatever service I'm doing, do it to the best of my ability. And if by chance I have an opportunity to have some positive impact on someone along the way, then that's great too. But do it in such a way that I am not an exact example of Bhakti Tirtha Swami, because I can't be, but that I am an example that he would be happy to see, or he would be pleased with my service. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you so
But
much.
that's it.
Thank you. Julia, would you like to add something? Yay, Julia is here. Oh, she's my friend. I met her at the Sadhu Sangha Festival retreat last year. And I just have to tell you, I was so drawn to watching her experience the kirtan. I mean, seeing her joy in chanting and singing and dancing was just melting my heart. It's just this enthusiasm of her was just like heart melting. But anyhow, we had an amazing meetings since then regularly. She actually certified me in Reiki. So I'm really happy that she was able to join us today. She lives in Utah, near Salt Lake City. Sorry, Julia, for this little intro. Go ahead. Oh,
I think
It
she
looks
might.
like she's re-entering.
Yeah.
yes.
She might have gotten off or something.
Maybe I embarrassed her and she left.
It looks like her
Well,
network
she's
was
coming back.
on my side. It was like a network issue, so I think she's rejoining though.
Okay.
There we go.
While she's connecting, I just want to really thank both of you for sharing so far, and I really appreciate these thoughts, how in the beginning we are very fresh and enthusiastic, because on this circle, I see that we have a group of mixed devotees. We have some seasoned devotees, some younger devotees, some yeah, so we have a lot of variety. And in the beginning, I also remember this, I was so enthusiastic and I was like tracking everything, you know, what time I finished my rounds, how much I read this day, what I have done. But then we kind of get lost in life, and our spiritual life just kind of is there, but almost sometimes even feel like a burden on our shoulders. So creating a vision, a plan, I think it's very, very important. Remembering too that Krishna has planned for us as well. Yes, Julia, we are excited to hear from you.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you. I'm so excited that you are presenting today, Krishna Mai. Thank you. And I love this idea of a vision board for your spiritual life. I am a very visual person, so like when I've made vision boards before, and I'll like cut out little pictures and put them up on my wall, and kind of have this idea of like what are things going to look like. Yes, I want to live in this sort of place or whatever, but having that with words or with pictures to kind of emulate what my spiritual life will look like, surrounding myself with pictures of Krishna and the words or the ideas of what that is culminating in, I think can kind of push me towards that end goal. So I love this. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad this is helpful. I'm actually doing this for my own inspiration too. Okay, so let's move on. So let's go a little bit over what's hard about a vision, or even like creating a vision board. Something that I found from the past when I was trying to create a vision board, that usually the vision boards are kind of around stuff, the shiny objects. You know, like people put like bucket of dollars and diamonds and like fancy car and fancy house. So it's all objects. And for me personally, I don't know, maybe it's different for you, but for me personally, I do not feel motivated by seeing objects. They just don't do it for me. And we are often, humans generally, are more motivated by avoiding pain than moving towards pleasure. So this is another challenge when we something, you know, let's say we put on a vision board picture of Mayapur, and that's something that we would like to go. So this is not this we associate with that we will have this spiritual enjoyment, spiritual pleasure, and it's not as motivating to move toward that goal when, you know, we have some pain going on. So another thing that there is a gap between the present and future often makes our head turn into pretzels. So we are here. I think one of you shared in the beginning that, you know, I had this goals, this vision where I want to be spiritually, you know, when I be initiated, where, you know, when I gonna visit India and so on. And then but then you see yourself, okay, I have no money, I'm struggle chanting even 5 rounds a day, you know, I have not chosen my spiritual masters yet, you know, and then you feel like, how I'm gonna ever get to where I want to be. And another hard thing about creating vision is that we have tendency to throw it away instead of making adjustments. So if we find something that is not working or is too beyond our imagination, we just tend to just forget about this and just move into the ordinary. What else do you find personally hard about creating a vision board, if you have ever tried before? If
I found it hard when I made vision boards for Grihasta couples. And I remember the first time I personally did it. I have not done a vision board for my spiritual life. However, yeah, I would teach that in terms of Grihastas. However, when I first did it, I remember like just having pictures to represent what I was thinking was really hard. Yeah, like I couldn't always find my thoughts represented in a picture. So then the vision board is a lot like a collage in one sense. And so I remember being really stuck there, and I still get stuck there sometimes.
Yes, it's so true. So true. Oh, yes. Thank you for sharing this. I find the same struggle personally. It's really hard, but we can get better at this. Oh, wow. So many hands. Just whoever goes first.
In order, we have Mary, followed by Poppy, followed by Julia, and then Lila Kashuri.
Hi, everyone. Hare Krishna. I think you even have that line there. We have a tendency to throw it away instead of making adjustments. And I think sometimes what's hard for me is I doubt my capability before I even begin. It's one of the things I noticed back. I talk myself out of things before I've even started. So trying to envision it, I cut it off right there. That, well, that's not really going to happen, or that's impossible. So it never even makes it to the board.
That's a very, very important point. It has to be, whatever we put on a vision board, it has to be within our zone of acceptance. Because like you said, if we put this like huge goal, okay, I'm gonna go to the moon or something like this, then of course, first of all, the mind is already rejecting this idea. And then how are we ever gonna create a plan to get there? So it's important that what we put is within our zone of acceptance, which may change with the time, the skill set, purification, and so many different factors. Thank you so much. Very valid point. I appreciate this.
I think Mary kind of said everything that I wanted to share. Same thing for me is like before it even gets, I never made a vision board. I made like list of things that I would write down on my like notepad that works for me. But yeah, I think the inner critic kinds of shuts it down, like, no, you're not going to be able to do it. This is way out of your zone to even try. And I feel like that negative voice even keeps me away from even, trying or making an attempt to see where it goes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Next, we have Lila Kashuri.
Haribol. It's so nice to be in this class with you, Krishnamai. I love you. It's really
I love you
wonderful to
too.
take a class with you. For me, I think what gets in the way for me is hyper independence. So I'll make, even in my spiritual life, this wonderful set of visions, but I don't factor in the reality of all the people and moving parts in my actual world. And so then I have these wonderful starts and I'm off, and then, something happens over here with this one, or, this event happens, and it's just like, wow. And then I will have a tendency to cocoon up, and either something gives, like it's like, okay, so then all I can do is just japa in this, and I can't do all these other things because all these major events are happening. Or I put the other things on this side, and I'm like, all I'm going to do is my spiritual stuff, and the world can just wait. And it's like, neither of those things is real. So that's kind of what happens for me.
Thank you for sharing. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the real yogi keeps balance between everything, which is an amazing task to do. Yes, between work and spiritual activities and relationships and obligations and so on. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Poppy, do you still is it your hand from before?
Yes, from before, sorry.
Okay. So let's move on. So I just came up with this really nice quote from Radhanath Swami. It's from his book, The Journey Within, and it says that every moment is a new beginning, a chance to start fresh, I guess should be fresh, afresh, and create the life we truly desire. So regardless what was in the past, however we feel about, we have this opportunity to every morning to start writing, creating our new life. I remember, I don't know what they use in school right now. When I was going to school, they used the blackboard and we have the chalks, and then you kind of And then there was a sponge that you wet and to clean it. And but right now I think they use a whiteboard, right? A reusable like whiteboard in schools. But anyhow, by the end of the day, the board is clean, and in the morning for the next class, it's clean and clear, so we can start over. And that's also, we have this chance in our daily life every single day. I want to share with you a couple of interesting things about our brain. We process visual representation better and faster than written. So that's why images are important. Images evoke more emotion than written words, and emotions create actions. So we move forward when we bring emotions to the picture. That's I also learned in my business, that people do not buy because of some reasons. They buy when they are emotionally tempted to do so. Visualizing the process is more effective than the destination. So we need to include this. So we cannot have just something on our vision board without the steps to get there. Visualizing the destination without the process hinders your success. And vision boards prime your brain to recognize opportunities, confirmation bias. So it's super important to have a visual representation of what we want and where we want to go. Few more things. When we risk something, when we are in a risky situation, risk something, it produces cortisol. But when it's a risk associated with something that you have been looking at every day, like a vision board, you are less afraid and stressed. So even if it's like something, the goal that is like really high, is within your zone of comfort and acceptance, but it's really high. And it may like, we can say like freak you out, but when you look at this every single day, your brain is accepting this, and we start to create some ways for you to achieve it. Now, just wishing and fantasizing are actually harmful without having a plan to get there. And this is interesting study of Harvard graduates. So 3% had written goals and look at them every day. 10 years later, those 3% earn more than the other 97% combined. This is quite amazing because the brain is a tool that we can train. So when we have a written goals, we have a vision, then they make you think about what you really want and what you don't want, so you don't end up on a path that you don't want to be on. And then I think I have one more slide in this here. Distractions move us away from a life we envision. We need to have a life we envision before we can keep from being distracted from tasks we need to do. So that's a very interesting concept for me when I first heard this, because we often feel like, okay, I'm distracted. I'm really distracted, but distracted from what? If we don't have this what, then we are not distracted. We are just like spaced out. But first we need to have a vision, and then we can be distracted from it. And then we can also use some method to bring us back on track. And the easiest way to figure out what you want is to first make a list of what you don't want. This is quite common. I even remember when I first sat down to make my own vision, I was vision board. I said, like, I don't really know what I want. It's like very clear. Like Vrajalila also shared that like it was very hard to maybe was clear, but it's very hard to put it in the picture. But sometimes it's not even clear like what we want. And this we spoke before, if you choose things out of the zone of acceptance, your mind will likely reject it and it will be less effective. So we need to stay with the zone of our acceptance. Do you have any thoughts and questions about those interesting things about our brain I shared? Here is my moderator.
Namsa has her hand up, and Leela
Yes, I see
Kishore
Leela
has. So,
Kishori had a hand up before I did. So I think my question is not even so much about the question you asked. So I just want a clarity on what is the zone of acceptance, because you've mentioned it quite a few times. Yeah.
Yes, so honest acceptance is something that when, let's say, just the best way to just give an example, because otherwise is very, very hard probably would be. So let's say someone is just starting. I want to bring like a spiritual example. Let's say someone is just starting and they, let's say, are chanting just one round a day, right? And then they put on a vision board that, because they really feel, like that they want to do this, and they put on a vision board that they will be chanting 16 rounds by Sunday. Then what's happening, that immediately they feel like, no, it's impossible. There's, there's only like 2 days left, I cannot do this. So immediately they will reject that goal. Now, maybe this is like a little like a extreme example, but this is basically putting your goals or your vision too high, more than you with your skill set, your purification, your knowledge, your wisdom, your capacities, your relationship are able to do at the moment. Is this something that you possibly would like to do in the future, but it's just too high for you to even create a step-by-step plan to get there, because immediately you think that's not possible. Does that make sense? So just kind of aiming too high with what we have to play with at the moment.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you so much. We have a hand up from Lila Kashuri. Sorry for jumping the queue, Lila Kashuri. And then after that, we have Shri Supansa.
No problem. I love to hear from you, Nansa. With regard to the brain, there was a study done in 2018 at Reed College, and it was very interesting because it also said that when you're listing, like, say, your goals or your visions, you shouldn't share them publicly with a lot of people, because some things happen interestingly in your brain. And one is that if you receive premature praise, for a goal, it makes you less likely to follow through. So you say, I'm gonna, whatever it is, and people go, oh, good for you. That's wonderful. I can see you doing that. And you get the same dopamine hit in your brain as if you actually did it. And so then you might not actually follow through. Another reason was that if you receive person praise, like, good for you, you're so wonderful, I know you've got the skill set, rather than process praise, like, good, so what's your first step? Did you do it? It'll stop you also. And if you get negative feedback, if people go, well, how are you going to do that? You don't, you don't even have a degree in that or whatever, it also can stop you. So it's a good reason to have people that you trust, and just a few people to share that vision board or those goals with, rather than just like, putting it in social media and telling everybody that because it really could actually slow you down. That's all that I had. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, thank you for sharing that study. Very interesting. Shri
Next, we
Ishapani.
have Shri Supansa.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Jai. You've mentioned a very unique word, cortisol. And my understanding of cortisol in relationship to health and losing weight, I can identify with that, because what I'm told is that when you worry a lot, it creates cortisol, and that makes it hard to lose fat. So that seems to be adding another factor into this whole visualization board to me. So when you're worrying about, things and wishing and fantasizing and wanting to create, how does that cortisol react in relationship to our overall health?
Very good question. So we have this the saying that fear has big eyes. Is it like a English saying, or is it like a Polish saying that I'm translating?
I haven't heard that one yet.
Oh,
I haven't heard that, Krishna. It must be a Polish one.
Okay,
I'm gonna write
probably.
that down though.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure all of us have the experience about like afraid of something and then giving it a try and then having realization, oh, it wasn't that bad. It could be anything, a public speech, doing presentation here, or, like, I don't know, scuba diving, I don't know, like really some things that we are afraid of, but when we give it a try, then it wasn't too bad. And the more we do it, it's become almost like a second nature, the fear kind of gets small, maybe not goes away completely, but it becomes small. So similarly, when we look at something that we put on a vision board in the beginning, actually there's, I don't know who said this, but someone said that if your goals don't scare you, you are not dreaming big enough. So we should have, just like Srila Prabhupada, like his vision was massive. It's just like unbelievable for ordinary person to even think what Srila Prabhupada wanted to do. And so, but when we contemplate this over and over, then not only we become familiar, but also when we do little steps, that the key is also to be able to break our big goals into tiny actions that we can execute every single day. When I personally, how I work, when I put like a big goal that I think, oh, I will never, like, it's like, not that I will never get there, but it seems like really huge and it takes tremendous amount of endeavor and effort to get there. So it could be so overwhelming that immediately I feel like, I think Antariami, I think maybe you said this, that it's almost like put us that we don't even want to try. No, that was Mary, I think, that we don't even want to like try. It's just too overwhelming. So immediately what I do, I immediately break it into action. Like, what do I need to do monthly, weekly, daily to reach that goal? And then almost I forget about this goal, kind of. And then I just focus on those daily actions, because I know that those daily actions will add up to me reaching that goal. And in this way, my stress level is only on my worry is only how can I, let's say this particular day, just do those few little tiny steps, and that's it. And then I can check them off and then move to the next day. Does that make sense?
Jai Prabhu, Hare Krishna. That takes away the worry and the fear. It eliminates it.
Yes.
Taking small steps. Yes. Haribo, Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Is there someone else who would like to share?
Karuna, who also has a hand up.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you so much for this presentation. It's such a brilliant topic. Um, Vision boards is something I've always struggled with, for various reasons. I think probably number one being that my plan and Krishna's plan are in the opposite directions. But I was just thinking as as you started speaking about Srila Prabhupada from the beginning, and how he built ISKCON in a way that most people would consider impossible to accomplish the things that he accomplished at his life. I mean, at his age in his life. And there was one incident where a man walked into one of the ISKCON centers where Prabhupada was already now world famous guru with centers all over the world. And this man walks in and he says, I met your guru. And he's like pointing to show Prabhupada, picture of Prabhupada. And he's like, in the early days when Prabhupada was in New York and he was sitting on a bench alone. And this man is like, white man, and he's like, oh, that's strange, it's an Indian man dressed really funny, tries to sit next to him and make a conversation. And it's like, and Prabhupada said to him, because I can't remember exactly what the man said to Prabhupada, but Prabhupada's response is, I have many followers, but the only thing separating me from them is time. And this man thought that Prabhupada was senile. And he's like, okay, crazy old man sitting on a bench in the park. I'm just gonna walk away. And years later, he sees Prabhupada all over the news, and he had to go into one of the centers and share the stories. Like Prabhupada, he had this conviction, and because I think one of the points that you mentioned is, sometimes you share with people what you want to do, and they're like, oh, but you can't do that. That's impossible. because it's beyond their scope of understanding. And I think Govinda Priya, Govinda Dasi, sorry, would she shared this pastime where Prabhupada would just sit and turn the globe and just looking at the globe, and he's like, because he had this worldwide vision of what they were going to accomplish. And in Mayapur, when Prabhupada was describing these grand plans for halls that feed thousands of people, and the devotees are like, but Prabhupada, we cut one apple into 5 pieces and make 5 offerings. How are we supposed to build this huge vision? And Prabhupada laughed and he's like, you're worshiping the husband of the goddess of fortune and you think you are poor? Like, Prabhupada's conviction and his faith and his vision was so extraordinary. I mean, is so extraordinary. And I think the most amazing thing is to act in alignment with who we are and what Srila Prabhupada needs. Because I think one of the biggest challenges that I've had in the spiritual vision board is, what is a good devotee? And a good devotee plays a mridanga, leads a kirtan, has the perfect artistic movement of the chamara when they're doing the arti, quote shlokas. And it's like this notion of this is who a good devotee is. And in particular, most of these notions of good devotees are men. So I'm already handicapped. And so a lot of the times I failed because I love Srila Prabhupada and I love this huge, amazing vision that he has, but I wasn't using my own talents and who I am. I was not acknowledging, I wasn't being authentic in my service to Srila Prabhupada. And I think I'm still trying to figure out the vision board thing right now, because again, I think I'm going down one road and then Krishna just, hits a U-turn and I'm like, okay, where are we going now? But I think the biggest thing for me has been accepting or being authentic with myself and saying, I am not a mridanga player. I have a mridanga and I will never part with it, but I am not a mridanga player. I'm not a kirtaniya. I'm not a cook. It's, there's things that it's just not in me, and it takes a huge amount of mental, emotional, physical preparation for me to do, and then I need time to recover afterwards. But when I'm focusing on things which I feel these are my natural gifts, and I'm using that in service, it becomes a lot easier to and also the goals don't feel unrealistic anymore. To someone else, it may be unrealistic, but to me, I'm like, I know how to do this. I see the steps, I see the moves. It's perfectly realistic to me. If I had to say I was going to learn how to play mridanga in 6 months, that would seem impossible.
Thank you for sharing. I love all the points. I love the story that you shared from New York, because this is the one I actually wanted to tell, but you did such a wonderful job. And this point about authenticity and actually serving with who we are, it's so important. And this is another topic I'm very passionate about, and I learned a lot about this. So thank you so much for everything that you have shared. And the times flies in such a sweet association. I just look at the time, it's 1:30. How did it happen? So with your permission, I would like to just move forward with the presentation. And then at the end, hopefully we will have a little more time for more discussion. How does that sound for everyone? Is that okay? Yeah? Okay, thank you. All right, so there's a quote from Bhagavad Gita: one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So we have a mind, and of course we have also brain that it's just like a tool that we can train. Just like we train muscles the same way, we can also train our brain function and as well as mind. So So I just wrote randomly. Those are not in an orders of importance. That was like really trying to put them together fast. But I wrote just some ways how we actually are moving, making a spiritual progress. So among so many other things, there's of course chanting the holy names, rendering service to devotees, hearing from revealed scriptures, associating with advanced devotees, visiting holy places, performing devotional service, observing festivals, honoring prasadam. This is easy, right? We can make a plan quickly about this and vision. Giving gifts, opening the mind in confidence. So there are many, many different ways how we can advance in our spiritual life and develop, deepen relationship with the devotees, with our spiritual master, and also with Krishna. And the reason why I'm listing them, because what should go on our spiritual vision board? So those are some questions that you can ask yourself, and they are not so much as you will see related to places I want to visit, stuff I want to have, how many saris, what color of saris, like, but it's more related to whom I want to become as a devotee and what kind of relationship I want to develop. So some of the question is, how do I want to contribute to making the world a better place? How do I want to deepen my relationship with Krishna? How do I want to increase my hearing and chanting? There is always unlimited possibilities to make our chanting better, hearing better, chanting more attentively, chanting with more affection. How do I want to increase my ability to render service to the devotees? What holy places would I like to visit? What are the actions to take, habits to form in order to be able to realize the above? Who am I committed to being? Plus anything else that you want and that gets you excited and inspired. So just keep those questions in mind when you will create the vision board. Of course, we will not have time during this presentation to actually move into action and create a vision board, but that's something you can implement on your own, and I hope that would just serve as an inspiration for you, that it is okay to have the vision for our spiritual life. Too often I hear the saying, Krishna's willing. Now, what does that even mean? Like, of course, Krishna has his plan and he will execute his plans for sure, regardless of our endeavor to go the other way around. He will execute his plan. But as we know from Bhagavad Gita is the book of action. Arjuna, he wasn't sitting and waiting for Krishna, like doing something. He was actually performing his duty authentically, following Krishna's orders. So our job, our duty is to yes, ask, and always ask Krishna for permission, and ask, if you so desire, please help me too. Or if you feel that this trip to Vrindavan would be helpful to my spiritual journey, please help me to, break it into steps and make this happen. So, but at the same time, we are in an action mode. So we plan, we execute, but at the same time, we keep in mind that Krishna may change our plans, and also always asking his permission. And when we create a vision board, it also should be all the thing that we put on it, our attitude, ideally should be as soon as possible and as long as it takes. So another challenge is that quite often people give up too early. That's happened with their New Year resolutions. Everybody's so excited. Usually they plan, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna do this and that. And then 2 weeks later, nobody even remembers what they actually, the New Year resolution was. So people often give up too early. And this is important to be just as Srila Prabhupada. He is the foremost example of someone who had so much determination, regardless what, he was moving forward. And let's follow in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps and also adopt the same mood that as long as it takes, if it's dear, if it's important, if it will deepen our relationship with Krishna, if it will help us to advance on our spiritual journey, let's stick to it for as long as it takes. here's a little exercise that you can also do while you will be creating your vision board. And it's easier often sometimes to put what we don't want than come up with what we want more. Especially that as a Bhakti practitioner, we want to stay humble, you know, like, but we want to be humble. We don't want to be like, we want to go along with Krishna's plan. So sometimes doing this, like what I do not want, this is just some example. It's not about me personally, just like, again, put some random things, but I do not want to feel stressed out or overwhelmed. So then you can put an opposite. So how would I like to feel? I don't want to be being disorganized. So like what would be something that you can put on the vision board that would be opposite of that, that would inspire, encourage you, you know? Maybe like a little planner, picture of a little planner, you know, on the vision board. I don't want Krishna to be the last on my to-do list, right? Sometimes we are so busy with different things that we need to execute during the daytime, you know, different obligation duty, that we find ourselves doing our spiritual duties at the very end. And of course, then the quality is not as great. I'm sorry if you hear this noise. We have some workers working, so they are just bumping in the wall. Hopefully they stop. I do not want to be chanting at night and missing out on the association of the devotees. So there's some example of in the do not want category. And what I want more could be association of advanced devotees. And then how would I be able to arrange that? What that would take? Maybe a yearly pilgrimage to India. What that would mean? Would that mean savings for travel to festivals? Quality chanting in the morning. So that would mean how would I rearrange my schedule to be able to do it? Let's say chanting 10 rounds by the end of this year, if somebody is just like starting and building out the practice, or reading regularly at least 30 minutes per day. So those are some things that you notice in the want category is that we have control of. When we set up our vision and goals around things that are out of our control, then obviously we are setting ourselves for failure. But if we create them around the things that we have in control, of course, there's Krishna is the supreme controller, but you know what I mean, like that we can actually do by adjusting our schedule, by getting up early, going bed early as well, then it's easier to execute them and bring the success. So let's see what else. Again, and okay, and then how would we implement this? So number one, yes, brainstorm. Each category of making spiritual progress, and write down some things that you personally would like to be working on. And the vision board is not something that you created now and it stay with you forever the same. It will change. There will be some things you take off, some things you put on. So this is just a directions towards directions. It's like a path that show us where we need to move forward. And then you can Google search or use Canva search for images that will evoke emotions. When you look at them, you will feel emotionally connected. It will speak to you something. And also figure out how much things are, or give it a budget. Let's say if you would like to go, one of your, on your vision board is to go to India for Kartik, and you are broken right now, then how would you plan it? What would be the budget? And what that would mean? Would it mean that you need to somehow put like $30 every month into a little bank account for a trip to India? $30 is doable, but if you only think about, okay, it's $2,000, there's no way I would be able to ever save that much money. That's overwhelming. But if we break it down and say, okay, it only means I have to put like $50 per month, and like in a year or so, or 2 years, I will be able to go to India. We can do this. Then of course, add some images, add commitments to being, and put it somewhere you can see, even on your home screen. So yes, so visualization is very helpful. Like we learned those little things about the brain, but that means we need to see this. If we make it nicely and put it aside and like in a drawer, then it's won't work as good. And let me see if I have anything else. Oh, I have so. Another quote from Radhanath Maharaj: "The path of self-realization is not about escaping from the world. It is about transforming our consciousness and living a life of purpose and meaning." So, transforming. And now this is, please forgive me, I wanted to show you my spiritual vision board, but with the internet broken, I was not able to create. So I just, for an example, this is just a sample vision board of my personal business coach. But I wanted to show you this, that the vision board doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to take hours to make. It could be very simple, but something that the pictures that you emotionally connect with. Like when I look at this, it doesn't say anything to me. In a sense, it doesn't evoke any emotions. Those images speaks to her. I can just explain one image. And also when we put images, it has to be something that you are motivated by. Let's say one of your goals is to get healthy. Let's say you really would like to improve your health. And when you go, let's say, to Canva and you put healthy, usually what you see, the images that you will see, they will be like salad, greens. And you, let's say, hate salads, you hate greens. And if you put image like this, would it motivate you? Not really. You would just like, oh, I don't even want to like do this. Or, or you're like really slim ladies that, they have waist about like, I don't know, 5 inches, and you're like, oh no, this is not me. I'm not going to be there. But then, and that was her particular situation. But what she posted that motivates her to stay healthy, she posted this image of her, it's at the bottom of her like surfing. Because in order to do this, she needs to be healthy. She needs to have a good condition. She needs to eat a good diet. She needs to do all of these things. But that picture motivates her. That picture emotionally connects her. And she is able to make sacrifices to eat the salad. But if the salad would be on a vision board, that it will not lead her too far. All right. So I just want to thank you so much for your attention. I will stop the share, check the time. So we have 15 minutes. That was a pressure. I know this was like really fast. I wanted to go like really fast, and there is so much that I feel I would like to talk more about, but time is limited. So thank you so much for attention. If you have any takeaways, if you have any aha moments, something that you would like to start and implement, and maybe stop something that you are doing, or any other thoughts and feedback, I would really appreciate and open this for discussion right now.
Poppy, thank you so much, Krishnamai. This was a very beautiful presentation, and the way in which you presented it was also so lovely. The pictures, even if you had never told us what was happening with the internet, we would never have known, because they were so beautiful and so beautifully organized, and the color coordination throughout the presentation was so lovely. Thank you so much for that. Poppy, then followed by Shri Sapanisat.
I just want to say thank you so much. This was so beautiful, so meaningful, so easy to grasp. I have never done a vision board, but now I'm just really excited that this will be my first, and it will be with Krishna in the center. So I'm really excited, and I wanted to thank you for walking me through this. It's very doable, and I just love how you, yeah, I'm that person who freaks out setting a goal. I'm like, this is too high, I cannot achieve it, but I like really how you pinpoint that what can I do on daily basis that will take me to the the bigger goal that I have. So I just wanted to appreciate so much. Thank you so much for this presentation. I loved it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. I'm really glad to hear that it was helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shri Sapanisat.
Jai, Hare Krishna. I tell you, you are really motivating and inspirational. I've done a number of vision boards, but now I have a format. I have a better way of visualizing it. I can see it being done now. And I want to thank you for that. Hare Krishna. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this. And your struggle was not, you are not alone. I was struggling too. And it always seems like too esoteric, this whole thing. And, like, But I'm glad that it was helpful and you have some format to be able to do this. And that would be fun to have another meeting when we actually would be like show our vision.
Absolutely. I think that would be great. You know, now we have a better idea of how to create, you know, you gave some reasons and examples of how to make the world a better place, you know, things that, you know, you might want to put on your vision board and pictures of what to increase your want to do it, want to be, you know. It takes a village, you know, that's a saying, it takes a village, and you are creating a village for us to be able to manifest this. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. There you go.
Thank you. You're so sweet, so kind. Something I remember when you were sharing too, that one time I read this definition of old age, and it was definition that says that when regrets take place of dreams and desires, that's when the old age starts. So when it comes to our spiritual life, it's eternal. So it means we should always have something to aspire for. Always.
Absolutely. Jai, Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That was a nice thing about old age. I guess I'm in my old age. There's a lot of things.
Kidding. Hare Krishna.
She's sorry. Alila Kishari, then followed by Julia.
Hare Krishna, thank you. This was wonderful. And you know, when we're at Gita Nagari together, it usually is when our Guru Maharaj is there. And you definitely are empowered by Vrindavana Devi. You are like the coordinator of all of us, which is a lot like herding cats, I'm sure. But you do like a really wonderful job of it. But I'm gonna ask if the next time we're there together, that you just make a little bit of time maybe for your god sisters, and maybe we can do some vision boards together. That would be fantastic if you could make the time for us to do that. And this was wonderful, Krishna Mai.
Thank you. I would love that. Thank you for this idea. Oh, yes,
so
that
much
would
fun.
be fun. Yes.
Julia.
Hare Krishna, this was beautiful. I love the questions that you posed for how to implement a vision board. And I think the questions are very helpful in kind of generating some of those images and making it a little bit deeper and a little more personal. And just another thought I had is I have 2 young children, and I think this will be a beautiful way to help them kind of have a vision for spiritual life, that they get to put some pictures together and have that on their wall and kind of motivate them to be thinking of these wonderful spiritual visions. So thank you, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing this idea. I think it's a wonderful, like, mom, kids connection, doing this together. It's such a sweet, sweet idea, and do it with the Krishna in the center. Oh, I love that. So beautiful. I'm so happy, Julia, you're here.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you.
Deepa.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Yes, it's been very helpful because it's narrowed it down for me. I feel that I don't like to think about all this too much. So I suppose I need to write things down a bit more. So it's given me a little bit of a nudge to how to go forward. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing too. And that's probably, can someone also relate to this? Like that you don't want to like think about it, like this kind of stuff. We're just doing things,
Mm-hmm.
I can definitively relate to what you share, but I realize it's so important to keep our bhakti lata always fresh and juicy, and we need to make plans how we can increase, because otherwise it's just, okay, I'm chanting. I do it every day. I'm chanting, But when we make progress, how I can chant better? Like, what can I improve? Like, what goals? What could I put on my vision board? Like, or even about reading. Okay, yeah, I'm reading every day. I'm reading. Nice. Yeah, I'm, study. But how we can do this better so we can take what we read and implement in our life. And I feel it's so important to have vision and goals and how we can grow spiritually with intention, but in like juicy way.
Hmm.
For sure. Mary?
Very well. Krishnamaya, I just really wanted to say thank you. I never really thought, I've done vision boards before, but I never thought about doing a vision board for my spiritual life. I've always just kind of in this vague general way, like I should do more. But you've given me, I took a couple of screenshots of the questions and the what I want and what I don't want. And you've just given me some food for thought about even breaking stuff down into smaller goals. Like I forget that sometimes, but to break stuff down into smaller goals, and that's okay. Like it's okay to do that. So thank you. This was wonderful. And I was just so tickled that you initially you were like, oh no, I don't think I could do that. Last week you were like, oh, I don't know. And you did such a wonderful job. You really did. And your presentation was beautiful. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Wow, you have been so sweet. I really feel like, oh, it's such a lovely association. I so appreciate to being part of those gatherings. It means like a lot to me. Thank you so much. Rajalila Prabhu.
Mute here. Yeah, Haribol. So I we all knew that you would bring us this wealth of clarity about something. And certainly the vision board has served as a means of giving us some, I think, an expanded vision of what we ourselves can understand within ourselves, which let me just read really quickly what some of these devotees were sharing. Lauren said, Kurna, this point about authenticity is incredible. Thank you so much. Antariami, good points and ideas. I like the vision board. She had to leave. We'll have to leave. Sangeeta, I have to leave now. Thank you so much, Krishnamani, for a very thought-provoking presentation. Looking forward to seeing everyone soon. Let's see, Lauren, thank you so much, Krishnamani. I'm like overwhelmed with gratitude. I don't know what to say other than thank you. I'll keep you posted on the vision board. And then she said she had to go. She appreciated the reflections and sweet interactions. Yeah, and of course, I want to thank you. Something that I was thinking about when you were making the presentation was this point about what goes on the vision board. And I usually kind of jot down things as the devotees are making presentations. And some of those points, what goes on, do I want to contribute, deepen relationship with Krishna? Well, how do I want to contribute? There's a few: increase hearing and chanting, holy places, there's a few of them. And so I was thinking that with understanding what goes on the vision board also comes the challenge of the mind, because as you were saying, there are different, there's a variety of devotees, even right here on our Sangha. So there are a variety of devotees in our ISKCON organization with different appreciation and levels of bhakti. And I can see, just as I was hearing that, many devotees with their inner critic coming up. For example, in let's say deepen relationship with Krishna, and somebody's inner critic, especially, there are many devotees, their inner critic can be like, okay, I want a deeper relationship with Krishna. However, I have to deal with devotees that are, X, Y, and Z, and how do I get through that? And so I was thinking that creating a vision board requires compassionate listening internally and also externally to get support for when the mind becomes so challenged with the inner critic that we have, with all of these things that you have, awakened us to in terms of, just making something really relevant in our lives to bhakti. So I wanted to share that with you because I thought, Krishnamani, this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And if we were perfected beings, we would just do this with no problems. Nothing would come up. We were just like, this is my vision board, move on with it. But that would mean actually not living in the association of devotees, right? That would mean kind of, not having interactions and not being disturbed by other devotees, whatever. Or not necessarily disturbed, maybe energized by other devotees. So that was my thoughts, was like, okay, get ready for a mind gymnastic as you do the vision board.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. That's a topic for like another presentation, right? We can but yeah, it's very important. Oh, yes. Yes, it's not, but if we, like you mentioned in the beginning when you were introducing me, you mentioned, about the terrorists, they are expensive, right? You mentioned, so when we aim for something valuable, it's not gonna be easy, right? So like
Yes.
deepening relationship with Krishna, we are aiming for the best what we can get, we can ever achieve, like deep loving relationship with the Supreme. So it's not gonna be easy. There will be obstacle challenges, we will trample, we will fall, we will get up. There will be those different things, but the most important is that we are moving forward. We're making endeavors. And I think I'm gonna quote, I think it was oh no, I don't know, was this boxer? I don't know his name. But somebody said that we either learn or win, but we never fail. We either learn or win. So as long as we are moving forward and doing our best, somebody mentioned too in the beginning, I don't know if it was Lauren or somebody, there was someone of you that shared that, please forgive me, and I'm not familiar yet with all of you and names of this, but somebody mentioned that, oh, now I lost my track. This is old age, just, yeah, my personal attitude is too that when I put something on a vision board, then ultimately, I don't know if I can or if I can't, but I will do my best. I will do my best endeavor and I will do 100%. But ultimately, there's someone else that is the supreme controller, and thanks God. Thank you, Krishna.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's also nice to put in a vision board what our obstacles are and how we overcame those obstacles. Yeah. So, of course, I had no doubt that you would bring to us a wonderful presentation. I just know that you're as I said, you're a very empowered young woman, and I'm really always very happy to be in your association, to see you, and just see you, because I know there's so much that you bring, and this is just like a little drop of what you're able to share with all of us. So my request is that you come back again, and maybe you want to continue with the vision board. I don't know. However, either that or bring something else, because you have a wealth of
Yes, okay. I'm really humbled by what you have said, but I will do my service the best in my capacity to serve all of you. And I love to share what I am learning. That's for sure. And I am one of my natural talents, I would say, like we all have some talents. It's to break things into small, doable steps. I really like execution part of things. So that's why like sure I enjoy managing all of managing. I don't like this word so much, but organizing things and making sure that the things are done. So that's something you can count on me. But when it comes to talking about beautiful relationship and how to do this, then I think I will pass it on to Krashalila Mataji or others, some of you, because that's not my personal natural talent. Thank you so much.
We all have gifts, right? And one of the gifts of beauty that I see, is just looking at your background. It's just so beautiful. It's just, yeah, is looking just how you have things organized behind you. That's a beauty. It's very attractive.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
And we want to welcome Julia. Julia, thank you so very much for being here. We're so appreciative that you joined us this week. We were looking forward to seeing you last week. Krishnamai thought you might come last week, and we were looking for you. So thank you for coming to our Sangha. We meet every Friday from 12:30 to 2. And we would love to have you come again and again and again. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for bringing your beautiful smile and your lovely braids. It's amazing.
Hare Krishna, thank you. I'm very just honored to be in association with great devotees. So Hare Krishna, thank you.
Good. Hari Hari, thank you.
Hare Krishna. I just want to add that Krishna Mai does really wonderful presentations about the use of essential oils, and it would be really cool if maybe she would do another presentation for us at some point about that, because they are fantastic.
Okay, Krishna Mai, would you like to do a presentation of your oils?
I would love to. I would love to. Of course, I would love to. That's something
All right, why don't we do that next week?
please kindly forgive me, but next week I won't be able. I actually have a business trip that I'm taking, and with great regrets, I won't be able even to participate in a meeting at all. So we can maybe schedule me for the future.
No worries, you're traveling. And we are. Yes, we will definitely reschedule you. So we're probably gonna get another devotee next week. We'll invite someone to come and we'll discuss with Namsa a theme and a topic for another person. We'll see what we come up with. Yeah, to invite you. But anyway, it's an open invitation for you to come at any time. I'm sorry, somebody's working in our house also. I do want to make one last announcement. As you know, we've been doing these sanghas for a little over 2 years, Namsa? Is it over 2 years?
Almost 3 years now. Like in May, it'll be 3 years.
Yeah, every Friday for 3 years. And IFAST, which is the organization that was founded by Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, and I'm a representative of IFAST. We collaborate with WUSA, Wake Up South Africa, to bring these programs every Friday. Recently, I had a conversation with the organizers of WUSA, and one of the things that we would like to do is make an offering to WUSA for the devotee that they offer to us to make our posters every week. His name is Atma Tattva Prabhu, and he's just the most incredible devotee. He's just so humble and just so there's words that I think about him whenever we talk, but he's always so reciprocal, like just really ready to do whatever we ask. And so I was going to share on a personal level. I've always tried to support USA. However, what I want to do now is to request everyone to make a donation, a contribution to USA in support of this amazing devotee, to help him. He's, to continue with the service. So there is a PayPal. I got a PayPal information from USA, and I will post that in the chat. And also we'll post that on our forum. And whatever you can send, because I think the value in South Africa is different, Namsa. The money is different.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it for dollars?
A dollar is 18 rand.
80 rand. Okay.
18,
So
18 rand.
It's 80 or 18?
18.
Wow. It's really decreased. It used to be a little more. It used to be a lot more. At one time, I remember the rand used to be almost as equal to American dollar at one time.
It used to be, and not so long ago actually. But like now, it's the rand is quite weak. It's 18 rand to a dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. So my request, my dear friends, is whatever you can send. You know, whatever, 10 pounds, 5 pounds, 50 pounds, $5, $10, whatever it is, it help this organization. They are, just to let you know a little bit about USA. USA is like a branch of ISKCON. They did become ISKCON, right? There's a branch of ISKCON.
Branch of
However,
ISKCON.
yeah. However, their focus is to assist um, the South African devotees that may not have the opportunity to have gatherings like this. This is one of the things they do. They do many, many things, but this is one. They try their best to make that offering. So would you like to say anything about USA really quickly before? Like,
Sure.
because so you say so much about it.
So WUSA Wake Up South Africa as an affiliate of ISKCON South Africa, as a breakaway or branch of ISKCON South Africa. And one of its missions is to preach to the indigenous people of South Africa, to bring Krishna consciousness in an environment, in a setting that is also socially aware of the different cultural dynamics that are at play within the South African environment. So this is why we have this preaching mission, WUSA. It was strongly supported by His Holiness Karamba Swami, who regretfully left his body last year. He was one of the big supporters of WUSA. He donated actually quite a bit of money to get the WUSA house. So we have a preaching center called the WUSA house, and it's in Melville. It's between two big universities. So WUSA's main mission is university preaching. So that would be Wits University and the University of Johannesburg, UJ, and also to the greater community, which we are a part of. And yeah, we've been doing a lot actually since 2020, since the lockdown, and WUSA's grown quite a bit. We have platforms like this. We also have Books Are the Basis Book Club, which is a reading club that we have every Thursday. We have japa sessions every morning, South African time, 5 till 7, and quite a bit of programs that are just geared towards university preaching and preaching to the general public that we host at the WUSA House. So yeah, it's a growing mission, and one that requires a lot of support still. And we're grateful for all the support that we've had, especially just through people's hearts and participation, like this Hatha Vaishnavi Sangha. That although we may not have so many South Africans on the call, we have so many other people that we are sangering with and learning from. And then we are also able to impart what we are learning here today to the greater community. As an organization, WUSA has got the attention of a lot of media. Last week, we had a podcast with one of the biggest podcasters in the country and one of the biggest podcasters in Africa, actually. And I think he's the 5th biggest podcaster in the world. And he knew a lot of Hare Krishnas, and he was asking so many questions. And after he was asking personal questions, and I could just hear myself, like in the voices of so many of the ladies here, as I was answering those questions. I was like, this is not me. I'm like I'm the mouthpiece of this sangha in this conversation. And I was so happy to have that. But I could tell that this is just from the association that I've had from everyone here. So I'm also just so appreciative and grateful for everyone who is here and the constant sharing. So just my appreciation to everyone here. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing, Namsa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namsa is one of those persons that have stayed in the Sangha for the last 2 years, been consistent and committed, and we really appreciate you. I say that all the time, because you're like, yeah, all the time. You're like the medium that connects us there in South Africa, because everybody else in that organization are men. And so you're the one woman that have stayed with us to do this. So we really appreciate you. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it in South Africa if it's not for you being committed. We would probably be just doing it in America. And I specifically wanted to do it in South Africa. So thank you, Namsa. Thank you so much. Again and again and again. Tagore Haribol. Okay, my dear friends, I put it in the PayPal in the chat. And Namsa, if you can post that PayPal also on our Sangha. And whatever you can send to help out. You're supporting South Africa. Ready. Okay, you want to close us out, my love?
Yes. I feel so happy today. This is such a beautiful class. I love how everyone got to participate. That was a first for this particular Sangha. Like we always have people participating, but I don't think it's everyone participating at the same time. And I think it just goes to show just how meaningful the topic was. And I know every topic that we have at the Sangha is always super meaningful, but just the way in which you carried it and the way you presented it and the action steps around it. So thank you so much, Krishna Mai, for that. And I'm looking forward to having you share more about the essential oils and so many of your other sharings. You're very powerful and gifted in speaking. Like you are a natural saleswoman. I'm sure you could sell ice to an Eskimo. You have that thing. I don't know how to describe it, but you just have like I want to listen more. So I know you're like sometimes holding back, but it's just you just have it naturally. I just wanted to share that with you. So thank you so much for sharing with us and being with us at the Sangha. And thank you to all the ladies for participating and encouraging us. There's so many things that everyone had said that I was like, wow, I never thought of things that way. Or I really like that question and I've never thought to ask it. So thank you so much to everyone who's here. If we could just share our hearts with Krishna Mai for her being here and our appreciation for her and our react buttons. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Mai. And let's see each other next week. Have a fantastic weekend and a beautiful week ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
You too.
Hari
Hare
Hari.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, my dear friends. Haribol, thank you so much. Haribol. Hari Hari.